Hey everyone, BDZB Comics here, with a character who you can probably tell isn't from Xenoblade Chronicles, but don't worry, those Xenoblade movesets are still coming. I had the audio recording and the video capture completely done for one character, and I have the script and alternate costumes done for both characters. It's just, well, there's a new game in this other characters series coming out very soon, and in fact, by the time that this video comes out, that game will probably already be out. Plus, there was recently a different, wacky, boxy, third-party character announced for Smash, so I've been working on this moveset for a while anyway, so I figured I might as well just get this out now and come back to the Xenoblade stuff later. So, with that said, do you know who one of my favorite Super Smash Bros. Characters is? Mr. Game & Watch. He was just such an out-there addition to Melee, and he really speaks to Sakurai and the Smash team's creativity in designing characters that aren't super clearly defined and wouldn't seem possible to include in a fighting game. Mr. Game & Watch is not a character from one game. Instead, he is comprised of references to a bunch of smaller games released as Game & Watch handhelds. A part of Nintendo's history that, while very important, is something that newer Nintendo fans might have never been aware of were he not included in Smash. Game & Watch's moveset is disjointed. One moment he's swinging a turtle at you, the next moment he's a chef, the next he's juggling you like a little ball. On any other character, this would feel like such a garbage hodgepodge of ideas, but for him, it works because he's just a generic outline of a man. You see him shooting fish out of a bowl or turning into an octopus, and you're like, well, I don't really know anything about him, so why wouldn't he be able to do that? And this sort of disjointedness got me thinking, is there a third-party equivalent to this? Is there a character who can serve as a symbol for a specific moment in gaming that might otherwise be forgotten? A character whose design leaves you with more questions than answers. One who you know so little about that you could justify them performing just about any action. A character who represents not just one game, but a whole collection of wildly different small games that couldn't make up an entire Smash moveset on their own. The answer, my friends, is yes. And that character is the logo from the Jackbox Party Pack series. Like Mr. Game & Watch prior to Melee, this character has no formal name. Since he technically existed prior to the Jackbox series, he could simply be called Jack as a reference to his prior appearances in the You Don't Know Jack series. He could also be named after one of the hosts of a Jackbox game, like Schmitty or Cookie Masterson. But still, I think that taking the Duck Hunt approach and just naming him for the game that he's from is the most appropriate option. It's certainly the easiest way for fans to find out more about his home series. If Smash fans Google Jackbox, the first thing they'll probably see is a Steam link to one of the party packs. But why does Jackbox deserve to be in Smash? Well, like with Mr. Game & Watch, he's a symbol of the era which he comes from. Which is technically the 90s due to his You Don't Know Jack origins, but the box part of his name and design comes from the Jackbox Party Pack series, which became an annual tradition starting in 2014. The Jackbox Party Pack series is the epitome of a modern party game. Only one person needs a console or Steam to play any of the packs, and everyone else can join in with a room code on their mobile devices. It also has specific options just for streamers, including an audience feature which sometimes allows for hundreds or even thousands of players to help determine the outcome of certain minigames. This sort of simple social party game has become really popular lately, with games like Fall Guys and Among Us picking up steam. But Unlike those games, the Jackbox series has several entries to its name, and has had a consistent presence on Nintendo systems ever since the Switch came out, and even before that if you count the You Don't Know Jack games that came to the Wii and the DS. If Jackbox were in Smash, his moveset would be similar to Mr. Game & Watch in how disjointed it is, but not in terms of what moves he'd actually perform. Stat-wise, I see him as a heavyweight, somewhere around Piranha Plant or Bowser Jr. After all, his head is big enough to fill an entire cardboard box. He's gotta be pretty heavy. Like with Bowser Jr., Jackbox would have two hurt spots, one on his head and one on his box. If hit in the head, he'll take increased damage, but if hit in the box, he'll receive decreased damage. Jackbox would be able to duck and crawl around in his box, but beyond that there would be no additional movement options. So, with all that out of the way, let's get right into the moveset. As part of a brand new series to Smash, he would need his own symbol for his franchise that appears next to his stock icon. So, for Jackbox, that would be the Jackbox. Just like a 2D version of himself. Sort of like what Sonic and Mr. Game & Watch have as their franchise icons. His entrance animation has him scooting along the ground before popping out of his box, just like the intro of the first couple party packs. Jackbox's neutral special is based on the game that started it all, You Don't Know Jack. Specifically, it's based on the screw functionality in those games. In You Don't Know Jack, the screw function allows a player to basically force another player to answer a trivia question. If they can't answer that trivia question, then they get deducted tons of money for that question. But if they can answer the question successfully, they actually get more money than usual, and the player that chose to screw them will lose money. So, it's a high-risk, high-reward sort of thing, and the way it's implemented into Smash is that this shoots a screw at the nearest player. The screw will float above their head for a few seconds before drilling into them, doing massive damage. If the screwed opponent hits someone before the screw drills into them, the screw will be passed on to whoever they hit. Jackbox only gets 3 screws per stock, and can only have 1 screw active at a time. Jackbox's side special is called Fibbage, and it's based off of the recurring party pack game of the same name. This game is all about making a fake answer that convinces people that it's actually the real answer, and scoring points accordingly. The way that this is translated into Smash makes Jackbox become transparent and intangible for a second, while 2 answers appear on different sections of the stage. These answers serve to hide the player's true location, which is selected by the player by pressing left or right on their control stick. Once the player has selected the correct answer, the intangible Jackbox player will be teleported to the spot on the stage to become the answer. In this state, they can move around and jump, but not attack for a few seconds. The wrong answer mirrors their movement. It's then up to other players to figure out where the Jackbox player actually is. If they attack the wrong answer, they'll be counterattacked for twice the damage they were trying to dish out. If they attack the right answer, the Jackbox player will receive double the damage and knockback they would usually receive. If neither are attacked, the wrong answer will just fade away, and the Jackbox player will resume playing as normal in whatever location they teleported to. While answers are being selected, they can't receive damage, but can fall off the stage, meaning that the teleport that happens after an answer has been selected isn't always a super viable means of recovery, especially given that Jackbox has pretty high fall speed. Jackbox's up special is called Drawful, based on the party pack game of the same name. Like with Drawful, this is a drawing-focused up special. This move causes Jackbox to freeze in the air for a few seconds while the player draws out a path for them to follow with their control stick. Once the player has finished drawing, the Drawful Owl will pick them up and fly them along the path that was drawn for them. The Jackbox player essentially gives up control to the owl at this point. They can't even cancel out of the move until she's finished flying along the set path, though other players can still knock Jackbox back by attacking him mid-flight. As soon as the set path is over, the owl will let go of Jackbox and fly straight upward. During this time, the Jackbox player will regain control of the character, and anyone hit by the owl will take a bit of damage and be pushed straight upward. Jackbox's down special is called Bomb Core, based on, again, a move of the same name, this time from Jackbox Party Pack 2. Hasn't returned in any of the other party packs, although it is pretty fun. The crux of that game is that players need to work together to defuse a bomb, and the way that that translates into Smash is as follows. This move plops a giant bomb onto the ground with a timer above it, indicating when it's about to explode. This bomb is significantly more powerful than Samus or Link's bombs, though it's not as crazy as something like Electrode or a Bob-Omb. Still, you definitely don't want to be caught up in the explosion, and smart players will do everything they can to get rid of the bomb before it explodes on them. Attacking the bomb directly will cause the timer to go by quicker, but if someone were to merely stand to the side of the bomb and press A, they would pick up that side. Then they'd be able to drag the bomb along the ground and set it down again with the A button. But doing so will slow them down significantly and disable their jumping ability, so that's a risky move. Luckily, both sides of the bomb can be picked up at once, so smart players will impose a temporary truce so that they can pick up the bomb and toss it off the side of the stage together. In 1v1 matches, the bomb is much smaller so that it doesn't require the opponent to work together with the player who laid the bomb to throw it off the edge. To compensate, the timer for the bomb is also significantly shorter. Given that these are high-tech bombs, far more complicated than anything that the Lynx ever worked with, they take some time to put together. When the down special is ready, it will be indicated by a little bomb icon appearing in the Jackbox player's UI. Now, with all that out of the way, on to Jackbox's basic attacks. His jab is just a slap down with a fly swatter based on the party pack game Lie Swatter. And his AAA combo is just him whacking with the Lie Swatter repeatedly. His side A is him pointing straight forward with a green cartoon hand, as if playing the You Got a Point category in the Jackbox game Fakin' It. His side smash is a 2-hit attack, also a reference to Fakin' It, but this one being a reference to the number pressure category. First, he counts to 3 with a blue cartoon arm, hurting anyone directly below his fingers. Then he pokes forward with said fingers. His up A is another reference to Fakin' It, this time the Hands of Truth category. He sticks a red cartoon arm straight upward. Alright, that's enough of the Fakin' It base moves. It's a very good party pack game, but it can't take up the whole moveset. His up smash has a shark with a monocle pop up from the ground in front of him and chomp down on the opponent. While it comes out, the Predatory Loans jingle from Bidiots plays. His down A has him spray a can of spray paint, labeled Civic Doodle, forwards. His down smash charges a Zeeple from the Jackbox game Zeeple Dome directly in front of him and then launches it diagonally upward. His dash attack is him spinning along the ground inside his box. His neutral air is a spinning kick from high to low. His forward air has him pull out one of the chalices from Trivia Murder Party, which spills down onto his foe. His back air has him turn sideways while a cartoon light bulb from Patently Stupid appears above his head, signaling that he had a very dumb idea, and anyone who touches it will take damage. His up air has him turn upside down, and tentacles reminiscent of the alien faces from Push the Button which is Among Us but better, shoot out from the bottom of the box. His down air is a downward kick with his box. It's great for spiking. It's basically exactly the same as Piranha Plant's dare. For his grab, a chameleon from Fibbage 2 appears in front of him and grabs the opponent with its tongue. For the pummel, that chameleon pulls the opponent inside of the Jackbox, which then closes on them. We see the opponent rumbling around in there, but we don't really know what's happening in there. They'll be launched out of the box if the Jackbox player releases the Z button, or after a few seconds. The forward throw has Jackbox slam the opponent with a giant lice water, burying them. The back throw pushes the opponent inside the box, if they're not in there already, which then turns into a bathtub inspired by the Jackbox Party Pack 6 intro. The water spills out the side of the tub, and the opponent is carried along with the wave. His up throw straps the opponent to a giant glove-shaped balloon labeled Role Models. This carries them upward before eventually popping, putting them in a helpless state, though other players can pop the balloon for them, speeding up the process. The higher the opponent's percentage, the faster the balloon will travel, so this is a great tool for KOing off the top at high percents. So, just a quick addendum to that last move. It looks like Jackbox Party Pack 7 is going to use a balloon aesthetic for all of the games in the pack, so the Role Model's glove turning into a balloon isn't necessarily necessary. They could just use one of the balloons from the Party Pack 7 games, or they can make it so that it's one of 6 different options. Then his down throw causes the opponent to fall into a hole that opens up in front of them. Out of the hole emerges a beaker like the one seen in Role Models, which traps them inside. The beaker quickly fills up with liquid the same color as the opponent's controller input. So if player 1 is trapped, the liquid would be red. If player 2 is trapped, the liquid would be blue, etc. The opponent will gradually take more damage as the liquid fills. Once full, the beaker will erupt, shooting the opponent straight upward. The opponent does have a chance to escape the beaker before it erupts, but this gets gradually harder as it fills up. Now on to Jackbox's taunts. His up taunt has him bounce a potato labeled Word Spud on his head. His side taunt has him point forward with a green cartoon hand, again from Fakin' It, but he tells opponents, "You don't know Jack!" His down taunt has him crouch down inside his box and close the top before opening back up. Jackbox's final smash is called Split the Room. The cat from the Jackbox game of the same name appears in the background, and a reticle appears that the Jackbox player can move left or right. Pressing A or simply waiting will cause the cat to karate chop the stage, splitting it between the two halves. Anyone struck by the chop will take heavy damage. And now, on to victory poses. And I'm actually doing something unique for Jackbox's victory poses. See, unlike other characters who have just one victory theme, Jackbox has 3, debatably 4, victory themes. For the first victory animation, a bunch of little avatars from the Jackbox game Quiplash launch towards the screen, followed by Jackbox himself. This plays as the victory theme, except is replaced by Jackbox wins. For the second victory pose, Jackbox slowly approaches with dark, spooky lighting. This music plays during and when it goes, the color goes negative before Jackbox disappears. The third victory pose shows the box floating through space past iconic Nintendo planets like Popstar and Zebes before opening up. This is a reference to the Party Pack 5 intro, but instead of saying at the end, it goes, Jackbox wins. After all of these victory screens, The standard Smash Bros. Results theme is replaced by this little ditty from the You Don't Know Jack series. Now on to Jackbox's costumes. His default outfit is a bald head with blue eyes coming out of a brown cardboard box. His first alternate is a bald head with brown eyes and black face paint coming out of an orange Wheaties-like box, a reference to You Don't Know Jack Sports. His third costume is a bald head with blue eyes in a purple space helmet, coming out of a box with a galaxy design, a reference to You Don't Know Jack Full Stream from Jackbox Party Pack 5. His next costume is a bald head with brown eyes and an eye patch inside a box with a treasure chest design, a reference to You Don't Know Jack The Lost Gold. His next costume has a blue bald head inside of a pure white box, a reference to You Don't Know Jack Offline. His next few costumes aren't a reference to anything in the You Don't Know Jack the Jackbox series. Instead, they're references to other series represented within Smash Bros. The first one of these is a pink-colored bald head inside a box themed after QB from Box Boy. So, just kind of a general reference to HAL Laboratories, with both Kirby and Box Boy being some of their big properties. His next costume is a bald head with blue eyes and a Mario hat inside a box with a question mark design. I don't think I need to explain this one. His last costume gives him gray eyes and a green bandana inside a box labeled The Orange. This is, of course, a reference to Metal Gear Solid and the many different types of boxes that Solid Snake finds himself sneaking around in. I would just like to add that while I haven't done trailers for any of the characters that I've done movesets for, I think that the Jackbox reveal trailer absolutely has to incorporate Snake in some way. Now, that's it for this time, but like with Travis and Agumon before him, if this moveset video gets enough views, I'll release a part 2 talking about his classic mode route, music, and potential stage ideas as well. I had a lot of fun coming up with concepts for those, so I would really like to make that video at some point, but if this video doesn't get enough traction, it's just on to the next Xenoblade moveset. In either case, this is BDZB Comics signing out for now. See you next time!